What's happening, guys? This is probably a slightly different kind of location for the camera, but this is Wednesday the 9th of July. It's 7:42. I had to write it down because Pamela's using my phone. We've got a slight issue. I'm meant to be on a coaching course at the weekend on the Sunday, and we have a viewing for our house on Sunday, so we're not going to be able to make it, or I'm not going to be able to make it. So we're in the process of trying to see if we can get a hold of someone that can help us out to get me moved on to a refresher course later on in the year. We've heard that there's obviously a refresher coaching course that's coming up in August, so hopefully that's the kind of one that I'm going to be on. So I'm going to start this episode off with a little glove review. These are the new Warrior franchise pro gloves that I have. I think we accidentally got these instead of a different pair, so it was good to actually get a chance to have a look at them. So I'm going to go through all of the kind of tech spec on them and let you know what I see that's different from other models of the franchise glove. Now, starting off, it's obviously the classic 4-roll that's going to be the design. Putting your hand into the glove, it is very, very soft in the inside and the back of the hand, and the palm is exceptionally soft. It's buttery smooth. Most gloves that you're going to get, you're not going to be able to play the piano with them straight away, but with this, these gloves are absolutely buttery soft smooth. They do actually say something very similar about that when they're talking about their game ready feel and their buttery soft feel. So these ones are a hybrid taper, and what that basically means is it allows the glove to contour to the natural shape of your hand, maximising mobility and improving protection. What that means is there's not nearly that much excess space. For me, I feel these are quite tight, even though that they are a 4-roll glove. They are slightly wider than a standard glove. I personally like a 4-roll glove myself. I'm kind of old classic style. I do have a couple of pairs of gloves that are what you would class as the taper gloves, like the Sherwood Codes and our Mustangs gloves that we have as well for the Mustangs team. So on this one as well, you've got the Pro Cuff, which extends your range of motion, improving puck handling skills when protecting your wrist from slashes. If you actually look at it, you can see that there is actually quite a lot of range of motion in these. Very, very good. Whereas, say for example, some of the other models of glove that Warrior have, they have a cuff that basically sticks to your wrist, and when you move, there's a break point where the padding actually moves. With this one, you actually don't have that, but the mobility in these are absolutely phenomenal. So I touched on it saying about the buttery soft feel. It says responsive mesh gussets and 3-piece fingers with axe-flexed thumb, accompanied with anatomical stretch band. Backhand gives the LX3 Pro gloves the snappy, game-ready feel right off the shelf. Now, I'm reading this off the Warrior website. Clearly, that's not a Warrior LX3. This is a franchise Pro glove, but it's very, very similar. The ventilation in these gloves as well, it's moulded foam, strategically placed vents to keep your hands cool and dry. Now, you can see the vents in the back of the palms, just here, through the padding. Now, for me, I think these are a very, very warm glove. I've found over the years with Warriors gloves, they used to be a little bit thinner and a little bit, how would I put it, lighter. These ones, they are very, very light, but I personally think they're slightly heavier than a Warrior glove from the previous model of the franchise. I actually used to have, I think I had about 6 or 7 variants of the franchise gloves over the years, going way back over the last 14 years. I think I had about 6 or 7 pairs of them. I actually thought they were very, very nice, but I didn't think the palm held up much back in the day, but we're going to touch on the palm in a little second. Tri-Lam with Space Shield 2.0, Warrior's most protective glove, featuring 3 layers of foam including HDV, N and IXPE foams, combined with moulded Space Shield 2.0 backhand and plastic inserts in the backhand, cuff, fingers and hands to protect against the hardest of impacts. Basically what they've did is they've upgraded the foams, so there's different styles of foams and obviously your polyurethane inserts that are going to be in the actual back of the glove. You can actually feel them and you'll probably be able to see them or maybe pick them up, but there's polyurethane in the back of the palms and here and all of these parts here. If you were to look at the difference between the franchise and the franchise pro, there'll be a lot less padding in the franchise in comparison, and you might actually find that there's a lot less polyurethane in there and they're a slightly softer glove. The Pro Palm X, a pro-tested AIX suede palm embossed grip that offers great mix of feel and durability. Now for me, Warrior is up their game on their palms. I think their palms are outstanding. For me, in comparison, they're slightly thicker than, say for example, some of their rivals. I'm not going to go into who, where, and what, but for me, I think Warrior have definitely upped their game with the aspect of the palm. Now, if you look at it there, you can just see the silver part of the logo. They're saying that there's a grip in there as well. If you can just see that part in the actual palm, there is it looks as if it's been pressed out in certain parts to be able to give it a little bit more grip. So you've got any flex thumb, mobility, dexterity through the hand and fingers is enhanced with the any flex thumb and mesh foam gussets. So what they're talking about here is the gussets in between the fingers. So they've got the palm is then obviously sewn onto the gusset is sewn onto the padding. Now, straight out the bag, these feel as if I could go in and play a game in them, no problem. They are slightly stiff in this area, but what I usually find I usually have to do is any glove I get, I usually have to break them in. So what I usually find is I'll bend and flex these to get to the point where I feel like they're perfect for me. The palms feel, like I say, buttery soft, smooth. In my opinion, you would be able to literally just get handed a pair of these and go on and play in a game. It's not something I would do personally. I would usually still try and go and break a pair of gloves in. That's just me, the old school in me. I want to make sure they're as soft as possible, and I want to be able to open my hand up a little bit more than that. I haven't got the chance to break these in yet, and I don't know if I will get a chance to break these in because these are actually meant to be for a customer. What's basically happened here is we actually ordered a different style of glove and these ones turned up. It gave me a good opportunity to review them, and it's given me a really good opportunity to get a chance at looking at them because I am actually in the process of looking for a new glove. The reason being is my 4 rolls from CCM are looking a bit sorry for themselves. There's now holes in the palms and I have already replaced certain parts. But something that has been spoken about in the next little while, KYC have actually came through with a possibility of being able to get us palms, which means I will be able to start offering palm repairs, full palms again. So if you have a prized possession pair of gloves that you would like to keep them on the ice, we will be able to do the palms in the forthcoming weeks. Alright, so back to this as well. Vortex liner designed to keep you clean and dry and odour free. So if you look at the inside of the glove, there is obviously liners that you can remove. I say remove, you can only fold them up out the road to be able to get your hand in to give you a little bit of extra space. The glove, in my opinion, it is a tight glove, but what you'll find is once it's broken in, it'll be very loose. And it'll be one of these ones where you'll be able to flick them off, no problem, if you get into that situation where you have to flick them off. They're not overly tight, they're very, very comfortable, and in my opinion, they're going to be one of the best selling gloves on the market. Obviously, we're going to have a look at some more gloves over the next couple of weeks or the next couple of episodes. There will be new products getting released. There will be new Bauer products, there'll be new CCM products. These are one of the new Warrior products that have just been released. Eventually, what we will also have is, as well as KYC will be coming on board with some gloves as well in the forthcoming weeks. I have actually seen a couple of pictures of them. I think that may have been the ball hockey ones, but if the ball hockey gloves are anything to go by, they'll be really, really good to have a look at and actually be interesting to see what they actually feel like. But anyway, for just now, I'm going to go and see what else I can get done because there's 5 minutes left and I've got hundreds of things to do, and if I don't come back to you tonight, I'll see you guys on Friday. So Pam's left and she's taking the GoPro with her and I'm still in the store. We originally had shot 25 minutes ago and Pam left probably about 5 or 10 minutes ago, but I've just realised that there was another job that's been hanging over my head and we've only just got the materials in for it. So we have these absolute retro classics. It's been given in to the store and they're due for some TLC. As we can see, some of the rivets are actually hanging out of them, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to replace some of the rivets on them. And I've got new wheels and bearings that I'm going to put on them. So we've actually went with white Libido grippers to go with the skates being white, and we've went for a set of Bevo Swiss bearings. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just right this very second going to go ahead and get the wheels ready for getting put on, or for installation, should we say. These are the wheels that came off them. I think they were pretty much the wheels that came with the skates. You're probably talking maybe a little bit more than 20 years ago. Might be wrong. The ones that I had were clear, They were like a clear material. I actually have had these skates before, and I had them very long ago. I got them when I was about 15, so you're probably talking about maybe 25 years ago. I had these, and I gave them away to someone just not that long ago, probably in the last 5 or 6 years. And I know that they're still skating in them because they were a very good skate. I am going to try and see if I can get some rivets done on these, and I'm going to do the bearings as well. So what I'll do just now, I'll get the wheels put on and then I'll get the rivets redone. I don't know if I'm going to record it on this camera. I actually prefer doing that kind of stuff on the GoPro. The reason being is I can time lapse it better, and I've got all of my mounts all over the place for them. For this camera, I actually don't really have any mounts for it at the moment. The only thing I really do have is I can take you out and I can show you. This is a part, this is a housing, and believe it or not, it will stick to this. So I can do it that way, I suppose. The only problem is I need to be able to angle it, and I can't really angle it at the moment, so it's probably best I just do it on the GoPro later on. Basically that one was pretty straightforward. Make sure that the wheels fit the chassis, the bearings went in with the spacers as well. That's all done. So here is the final product. This is what they look like. I think they look quite nice. It's quite understated, if I'm honest, having the white wheels with the white skate. Obviously it's a kind of off-white colour wheel. The only thing I did have to redo was, like I say, I had to do some copper rivets. The original rivets that were in there that had pulled through, and the chassis was actually coming off the skate, but I don't think the owner actually knew that. He had spoke about a little play in the wheels, but it was actually the chassis that was moving. And one of the other things that I've actually had to do was this one here. You can see there's a split on the back of it. It is an old skate, but it's not detrimental to the actual quality of the boot. What I will say is though, we have had to do the coppers on this one, and we have had to change the post that holds the wheel in for this one. The reason being is that there was a little bit of play in the previous one. The reason why there was a little bit of play is because there was actually a stopper attached to that skate, because I've had that skate before, and you could remove it by removing the post that came out from the wheel, and then obviously pushing down and then clicking it out. So that stopper has probably long gone. It's still a very apt design for, say for example, some of the older or some of the newer skates. I would probably say, because my kids' mission skates are very similar. Obviously it's a slightly different chassis that's on them, but it's a very similar design when it comes to the stopper as well. But again, that's that now finished. Now we can contact the customer, let the customer know that his new wheels and bearings are done and his skates have been fixed. So I will definitely now be back in tomorrow bright and early, 5 PM.
Good afternoon everybody. Well, it's not quite afternoon, it's almost afternoon. It is 3 minutes to 12. It's Friday afternoon on the 11th of July. It is absolutely glorious out here. It is absolutely stunning. It's to be highs of 27 today, so we've brought the good old #1 fan in, and that's to keep these girls and the big man cool. So they were out in the garden this morning. Sure you was, big man. You was out in the garden this morning playing with football, weren't you? And it was cool. We played a bit of football, or burst the ball, whatever you would call it. And when it got a bit hot, we brought them in, got them a drink. So they'll probably stay in until this evening. Maybe about 8 o'clock. The garden gets kind of cool at the front, so I let them back out for a run around the garden. Even 8 o'clock at night tonight is going to be too hot for Hector to have a walk, so he'll just be on restricted garden today. We'll see how the girls do, and then we might take them for a wee walk around the block. We do have a Teams meeting tonight for the Mustangs, so we'll be kept busy with that, so we'll see how we go. We have a life update in the Gardner household. So the house went on the market on Friday. We put it on for offers over 129, and we had an offer with two viewings booked in on the Tuesday night, one cancelled, one viewed. And on the Wednesday, which was 2 days ago, we had an offer made. We had a bit of a negotiation, and then we have accepted an offer on the house. So provisionally just now. Obviously it's got to come through lawyers, the conveyancing has to happen, but provisionally we have accepted an offer and are moving forward on the house sale. So it wasn't even a week, it's a week today it's been on the market. So I knew it would sell fast, but I genuinely don't think it would be within a week. But it is provisionally off the market, which is good. Sad, obviously we're saying goodbye to our first home as a family together. But as I said to Stephen and I've said to everybody, a home is what you make it. A home is where the family is. So it doesn't matter if it's a cardboard box on the street or Buckingham Palace. You make your home with what you've got, and we will make another home with what we've got. And that will be with my mum, who at 71 nearly has reached the age where she needs some company. She needs some support. She needs somebody to talk to. It's her and a cat, and she's exceedingly lonely, and she's in chronic pain every day, all day. So she needs somebody there. Fortunately, she's going to get 4 people and 3 dogs. I think more so her. But she seems quite excited about it. We're all making plans together. So it's quite a positive, all round it's very positive. We're moving forward. We've still got a lot of stuff going on with the shop. We've got KYC stuff to push. Bauer is providing us with a CSV file for us to upload onto the website, which means we don't have a huge amount of updating to do on that side of things. We've just got the other stuff to do. So we'll get on and get cracked on with that. Now here comes Good morning!
Morning! How are we?
Take 2!
Take 2. Copyright music is now off, so we had to remake the scene. So
I was just giving the viewers a personal update on our personal situation. Not that anybody's perfectly
I'll
in.
down to your level.
Hold it up. I feel like
Yeah, tell you what, I'll hold it right. There we go.
I feel like the Statue of Liberty when I'm going to do it. Da-da-da. Don't even.
I'm not. Apparently, I'm too sarcastic this morning. So
yeah. I was explaining that with the dogs are flaked out because they were out this morning on their wee run, playing football in the front garden, and they're too hot, so they've just collapsed in the cages.
Yeah.
That's why they don't go to the shop anymore.
Yeah.
They're quite happy.
And Hector's kind of melted. He's kind of sitting there.
And that was 9 o'clock this morning they get out, so they were out super early.
How you, big man? You alright?
Oh.
He's at a melting, Dad. Right, anyway, so I suppose we better get to the store because we're late as usual.
Yeah, exactly. I was explaining that to the viewers that we're always late.
Right, so this is the 3rd time I've tried to record this. The first time I tried to record that Pamela started printing stuff off in the printer, and the second time I couldn't get my words right in the right direction. So we'll try this again. So it's Friday the 11th of July, it's 1:44 in the afternoon. I've had so far 2 heat moulds, which is a horrible thing to have, especially on a day like today. The reason being is it's 26 degrees and it's climbing, so it's very, very warm and very, very sticky in the shop today. We have got the fans running in the background. Hopefully I'm able to edit that noise out. So we've had 2 heat moulds, multiple sharpenings, and we had a pair of steels that were replaced. You said is it HD Sports? HD Sports, it's the company that makes the steels. They decided to give our supplier a credit note for the steels, accepting liability for the breakage, and what's happened is the customers came in today to get our new steels put on her skates. So I didn't actually record that, unfortunately, because Pamela was hiding the GoPro in her bag and I couldn't find it. You know how that way that I can't find anything because apparently I'm a man. So there's no apparently about it, I am a man, but I can't actually find anything because Pamela likes to hide things and then tells you where they are eventually because she knows. I digress. Right, so I've had another repairing and it's a bit concerning for me because it's a pair of hazardous 9Xs. What I'm going to say about these ones is they've actually been hitting the side of the foot with a puck and they've cracked. So if you can see just here, you can see this area here is all cracked and the surface of the carbon fibre is gone. There is a crack that runs from here to here in this area, in that section there, and the skate has went slightly soft. Now, for longevity of the skate, I have actually just went on to Amazon, other brands are available, and ordered carbon fibre sheet and resin, epoxy resin and hardener to be able to do this. What I'm going to have to do with this one is I'm going to have to try and bring that area back a little bit, scuff this area up so it will accept some new carbon. Then I'm going to have to put carbon on and try and find a way to press it on so that it goes off, and once the carbon sets, the resin sets, I'm going to have to layer it up to try and make the skate slightly stiffer. And then what I'm also going to have to do is try and see if I can varnish over the top of it and try and bring the finish back up to a good standard. Now, that's obviously not necessarily one of the main repairs that I've done, or I usually do. I have done repairs on carbon fibre sticks before, especially around about the toe of the heel, where I pack them with the carbon fibre chop, it's called. So basically you get carbon fibre sheet, cut it up, mix the resin, and then force it into the hole, and then put a little bit of carbon fibre over the top of it and resin it in place, and then leave it for 24 to 48 hours. I'm going to try and see if I can get the prep work done on these today. I'm probably going to take a flat disc to this just to try and bring this out a little bit more, to expose where the crack is, and then try and see if I can go further than the crack to try and make it stiffer. Now the boot, I'm not 100% sure if you'll be able to audibly hear it. No, you can't really hear the difference in the skate, but there is definitely a soft area here which is obviously moving, which has been damaged. So a carbon fibre repair is the only way that we're going to be able to save these skates. I think there is a couple of other cracks, or it looks like cracks, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave them at the moment because the rigidity in the skate is actually still okay on the other side. It's just mainly this side that we're going to be looking at. So we're going to see how this goes. Again, we'll probably do a little bit of the prep work, and I'll need to pick this up on Tuesday or maybe Wednesday once I get the materials in. So today I have been relatively kept busy, which is quite good. We have got another couple of things that we're going to have to do today. I'll check in with Pamela and see how she is and what she's got planned for today. So what do you have planned for today, Pamela?
I'm going to do a bit of work on our price list and start to organise. So I've got the figure skate stuff done, it just needs to be updated on the website, and I have got the hockey player and goalie to start and finish, so I want to try and if I can do some work on that whilst it's quiet in the store. I'm going to do that. Organise orders for next week so that they can go in next week. We'll need to do a Bauer one, and I'll see how much of everything else we've got, and then we'll get all that tied up.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Right, I'll tie in with you guys again in a little while. I'll see how I go with this one. I probably won't time lapse it, just for the simple reason that I don't know if you guys like the time lapses or not. And so if you do, please leave a comment down below if you like the time lapses, if you'd like to continue to see them. If not, if you'd just like to see the repair work when it's been done, me speaking about what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it and then showing you, or would you prefer to see it in time lapse? A comment would be absolutely fantastic. Afternoon guys, it's 1:47 on Saturday the 12th of July. It's been a busy morning so far for me, or busy early afternoon. We had Brody K over, or his dad came over with his 3 sets of steels. Brody is now going, well, originally was playing in 4-5 Flyers in the Elite League. He's now going to Cardiff. So I was getting his skates ready for him doing his pre-season skating and training and stuff like that. I also had multiple sharpenings that came in first thing, probably about 8 or 9 pairs, and then I had to redo a couple just because Pam decided to put a set of 3/8s beside a 5/8 sticker, and I just looked at it and I thought straight away it's 5/8, and I done them all at 5/8. To be fair, I'm glad I did them at 5/8 because they did need a little bit of TLC. They did have to get run through the cross grind and tidied up a little bit because they were very tatty. There was a lot of chips and chunks out the blades, so that's got sorted. So today it is absolutely sweltering outside. I don't know the temperature, but I think Pamela said it's going to be about 28, 29 degrees today. So we've got the fans on full. The store is actually relatively cold, or relatively cool today so far, with the fans being on. Obviously it's not great for recording because there's a lot of background noise, but hopefully we'll be able to take that out in the post-edit. Pam's got some work that she's got to do. She's tidying up. I can see a drill sitting over there. I don't exactly know what she's going to do with that. I actually have had a couple of sets of rollerblades that have been brought in today that are, or I say rollerblades, inlines that have been brought in today that have to have some work done on them. Now what we've got here is we've got a pair of trews, but we actually have a slightly broken chassis in this part here, so I'm going to have to try and see if I can straighten that up. The chassis itself is relatively stiff. It's what I would class as sturdy enough to keep skating on. It's one of these situations where the back post is actually broken, but it's not actually causing any issues. It has started to bend in a little bit. Customer had actually brought me another pair of skates and asked me to take the chassis off of the trews and put another pair of chassis on from a different skate. But at the same point, what we've decided to do, or the customers decided to do just now, is just leave it as is. We're not going to do any work on that one. We're just going to do the work on these ones. So now, what's happened is with these ones, we have had a customer bring us these skates in, and the chassis have been mismounted. So as we can see, they're more towards the inside and they're very, very off. So what I now have to do is try and see if I can get the chassis mounted properly. Now, I may have to do some filling of some holes, keep it clean, and see if I can get them ready to go. Now, obviously we can see that whoever's done them previously hasn't really done a great job. The coppers aren't splayed properly, there's the collars missing from the coppers, and we're actually looking at the skate is off. It's more sitting towards the middle of the actual boot. What that tends to do is when you're skating and your chassis is off and it's not in the correct position, this player is saying that he's leaning towards that side because the weight distribution is off on the skate. So what we're going to have to do is straighten that up for him. So I've got that to do right now. I've also got my son's rollerblades in, or inlines. I need to make sure that his wheels are nice and tight, and we actually don't have to flip them just yet, but I may flip them over just to make sure that he's getting even wear out of them. We also have another monumental occasion. The M5 Pros have finally been retired. Now, when I say the M5 Pros have been finally retired, I have been skating between the M5 Pros and the 9Xs, the hazardous 9Xs that is, but I've made the decision that my little boy has decided he wants to go inlining with me, so I have chassis and wheels left over from a previous project that I have. It was a pair of Reebok 20Ks. So what I'm going to do is take the chassis off of these, take the excess holders off, and then I'm going to put my chassis on them, which is a set of high-low mission ones, I think, with revision wheels. So you'll get to see maybe a little bit of work on them as well. So that's the plan. The M5 Pro is now going to be retired. One of the best skates I think I have ever had. Is one of the most comfortable skates that I've ever skated in, and it just seems to be the best. And I'll be honest with you, if I could get another couple of pairs of them, I would still be skating in them. I do like the 9X Hazardous. They are very stiff and they're very supportive, but for comfort wise, the M5 Pros, just in my opinion, were the best skate that I've had in a long time, and I've had a lot of pairs of skates. Right, so first job on the agenda was changing Sam's wheels over. So what I've actually did with them is I've just turned them round. So this is the outside of the skate, and I've changed the wheels so that the wear point is going to be more wearing towards the fresher side of the wheel. This is just so that you get a little bit more longevity out of the wheels, and we're not having to buy him new wheels every other week. So that'll keep him on the go for a little while. So I've also done a little repair. What we actually had originally, Sam didn't want his stopper, so we had a slightly longer post that was going through the wheels. So what I've actually used is I've actually used a mission one. So the mission ones, these actually come as packs. So I've got a pack of them, and we actually changed that over so he can now get rid of his Polo Mint spacer. Other mints are available. So yes, that's that fixed now, and it's all tightened up, ready to go. He'll be absolutely buzzing about that, and he'll be flying all over the place in them. So next job I've got to do is I'm going to set you up for a little time lapse. I'm going to take these chassis off of these skates and then try and see if I can get them situated in a better position. So I just wanted to show this. So what's happened with these is they've put the front on first, and it looks as if what they've done is they've then had to force the chassis across. So the chassis have been under a lot of flex, unwarranted flex. So if you actually look at the positioning of the chassis itself is sitting way off. Also, the holes don't match up as soon as you relieved the coppers. So what they've done is they've done the front and then bent the chassis to try and fit on, which is not good. So I'm going to try and get that fixed now. What usually happens is when you have to torque a chassis, especially an aluminum or an aluminium chassis, you get a little bit that can be brittle, and this is exactly what's happened here. Taking these off, they've been brittle and they've been bent, and you can see there's a bit of oxidization on here, which is making that part very brittle, and it's broken off. It won't have an effect on the skate. I'll still be able to put the chassis on, but obviously we'll just not have to make sure that there's coppers on this one and this one to be able to disperse the energy that's going to be put on it. So that's not necessarily an issue, it's just unfortunate, the fact that they've been put on wrong and that's what's happened. Some people might laugh at this, but this is just how I like to set them up. Not all the time, but if they've got multiple holes that are on them, you can actually see it's sometimes better if you just tape the chassis down so that there's not any movement. So what I've done is taped it on at the front and the back, making sure that it's nice in a line. Obviously 2 support tapings here just so it doesn't move at all. So we're going to start getting the holes drilled and then we can get the coppers put in. The saga continues. Right, so the situation with these is that I've now got them situated the right way as best as I can. It looks as if what's happened is when they've actually put the chassis onto the actual boot itself, they've done the front and then bent the chassis to try and get it to fit on. It's not been level and it's not been the right way. So what they've done is they've put the front on and then forced the chassis across and used the coppers. So what has then happened, as I said, is there's been a stress fracture on this part here and it's came off when I actually went to remove them. So what I've had to do is I've had to drill a slight hole through the chassis and then I've obviously had to put another copper just on this part here. Now all of the holes had to be redone and it had to be moved over by at least it's half an inch. So they've been moved back by half an inch and over by 3/4 of an inch, just to try and get them to sit in the right position. Now, as we can see, if we have a look at it, the chassis looks a lot better now in that position. All I've got to do now is finish them off and get them all buttoned up. I still have to do the other one. The other one, as you can see, the chassis is very, very off and it's leaning towards one side. That's not exactly what you're looking for. You can also see that the coppers haven't been done very well on this one either, and the chassis is too far over towards the inside of the actual skate. Again, I'll get that one done. I haven't been doing any recording or much recording on it because it has been very, very pernickety. It's very time consuming and I don't want to have to keep starting and stopping it. So I'm going to get them done and then I'll show you the finished product. Right, so I'm showing Pamela how bad this one actually was as well. If you have a wee look here, if you look at the front where the marker is, if you look from where I'm looking, standing looking here, you'll actually see that the skate is so far off that the marker point for the middle of the skate is near enough on the inside of the post for this part.
So where was that? Over there?
Yeah, that one was way off again.
Wow.
And it was way off at the heel as well. So
is that kind of where you're wanting it to be there then?
No, I want it further back because see if I use the initial holes here, it's still going to be off. So I want it a wee bit further back. There's only one hole I'll be able to use, which is this one here. I'll need to
Is that from the old holder?
That's from the old holder, from the hockey holder. So you want it basically when you're setting them up, you want to try and get it as far back as possible because that's where your balance point's going to be. Your heel's going to be on that part, so you want it on here. At the front, you're looking for just to try and get it, in my opinion, this is just the way I do it, is try and get it as uniformed over these two parts here. The reason being is obviously you've got nothing in the middle, and believe it or not, there's actually holes underneath this in the middle where it's been put before, where it shouldn't have been put. Yeah, so it is a bit of a bodge. We see this quite often, unfortunately, and I have to do a lot of repairs on other people's work. If you're not confident doing it, speak to me. I'll guide you through it if that's the case, if you want to try and do this yourself. I understand that there is other people out there that are learning, but see when people are paying their hard-earned money to try and get jobs done and they're not being done to a high standard, you're basically ripping people off. I would prefer that if that was the case, you just come straight to me and I'll do the job for you. Yeah, I understand that that's me basically saying, yeah, just come to us, everybody else is crap at doing their job. No, that's not what I'm saying. I understand people make mistakes, but at the same point, when you're getting a mistake like that, the skate has actually had to be re-glued in places as well because the actual footbed of the skate is coming off. That's not what you're paying for. You're not paying for someone to wreck your skate. You're paying for someone to do a job to the best of their abilities, and if they can't do it, unfortunately, you've been stung. Right, so finished product. As we can see, it's a lot more straighter. It's situated a lot more in a better position on both skates, and they're more uniformed. I'm quite happy with the fact that they've actually went together the way that they should have went together. The bottoms of the soles are like Swiss cheese because of whoever's done them previously, and like I say, I've had to glue a lot of the footbed back into place as well, which has now obviously been held in place by coppers, which disperses the energy a little bit better. As we can see here, you can see that there's a couple of steel rivets just at the toe. That's just because it's very, very awkward to get the coppers out if you have to get them out. So I usually try not to put coppers any further forward than probably the ball of the foot. But because of the way that these have been, I've had to put extra coppers in them just because I'm trying to disperse a little bit more of the flex, the torsional flex, and the energy put through the skate. So that's that finished. One of the other jobs I've got to do today, usually I would wait until the shop is finished to do my own stuff, but I've decided today, because it's so quiet, I now have the M5 Pros getting the holders taken off of them. Yes, they still have the XS holders on them, but I have decided that I'm going to take them off, and I've got chassis. So I'll show you my chassis and my wheels. Now these were a setup that was obviously made specifically for my Reebok 20Ks, and the Reebok 20Ks then get donated to a kid that played in the local vicinity who was struggling for a pair of skates that fitted, and we were waiting for a pair of skates for him for quite a while. So what we ended up doing was I gave him a pair of my skates. So I converted them back from inlines to hockeys. So I have multi-surface wheels, revision wheels, and I've obviously got the high-low chassis. So this is going to go on to these. Just wanted to show you this just quickly. Now obviously I'm doing my own chassis, and the easiest way to describe how that I do them is, see the second hole that you would have in the heel, second hole on the holder or on the chassis. So this one here, that's the one you would use as your marker point for your second hole. So you would go at the second hole and second hole. There's another hole behind here. Just behind this part here is where the original copper would be. If you then move up to the next one, that's your marking point for putting them on. That's what I find helps, and I use that as my reference. So I'll set these in place, and then obviously if you look at the front of the actual skate itself, it falls into place relatively quite flat and in the right position. All you've realistically got to do is make sure that you've got your coppers in at your heel, your coppers in just in front, and then you can put stainless steel in there, and that should be you. It's very, 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 very quick. Very, very quick. It's literally taken me 5 minutes just to be able to do them. I have actually put coppers in the heel on this one and up here. So there's four steels still to go in there, and then obviously the steels and the copper still to go on these ones. But as you can see, even if I just show you that just now, you can see it's in such a better position than the last one that I had to do. Like I say, very, very simple, very, very easy to do. Well, that's the end of the day. We've managed to get all of the inline conversions done and fixed to the best of our ability. The skates are now all sorted and away back through to Fife. One of the things that we actually had earlier on, which wasn't on camera, was Callum came past from the Paisley Pirates podcast to show the event that we've got coming up. Obviously, the Pirates are going to be doing a live podcast. It's going to have some of the Paisley Pirates greats who have played there over the years, from the Scottish Cup winning BNL team. And we've also got the wee man in support, which is going to be quite good. That is us finished for today. Like, share and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one. Keep it cold-blooded.